Welcome to York Reacts. Today we're going to be checking out Halo Studios, which is now has been rebranded from 343. You guys all remember 343 Studios, right? They're all behind a bunch of Halo games and a bunch of content that we've seen over the years, and they've had some of their trials and tribulations and ups and downs. At that studio, there's been a lot of different stuff that has happened there, and they've now rebranded as Halo Studios. They're now going to be using the Unreal Engine, which I'm really excited for. So this is a little demonstration about this. If you are new to my channel, I am a senior animator. I've been working in the industry for almost 20 years now. I've been doing stuff on GTA 5, Red Dead 2, all kinds of cool stuff. So I'm really excited to see what they do here. I'm using Unreal Engine currently at the job I'm at. So I'm excited to see kind of what they're doing with the engine and what kind of paths they're taking with it. We'll have to see. Let's dive into this thing, huh? Let's take a look.
Chris Matthews, take one. Mark.
This is Casey Wu, take one. Mark.
I was told that I can just be my authentic self, Chris.
For 6 years, I don't want to be in front of a camera.
There's so much to do and so much fun to be had when you play Halo that I feel like I never run out of things to do.
I love intricate stories that take place across lots of different worlds, have lots of different meaningful characters.
What made Halo successful at the beginning? What is the legacy of Halo, and what's the soul that we want to bring forward, and what's the craft of making Halo games, and how do we set our studio at best to go deliver on that?
We knew we had to make a
She's asking a bunch of questions there. Hopefully they can answer them.
change in order to take us into the future.
When I first heard about Halo moving on Unreal Engine, my first thought was, this is going to be a really hard secret to keep.
Why would it be a hard secret to keep? I think that it's a good move for them to do that.
I think fans are going to be excited about the future of Halo because of the possibilities that are afforded us by using Unreal.
Before, we really had to split our focus in thinking about building an engine, supporting it, being really kind of a tech company and a studio at the same time.
Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about earlier, is that, you know, you want to just focus on the creative aspect. And if you're trying to develop your own game engine at the same time as making a game, it's gonna be you're splitting all your energy, and what happens is that neither one gets the energy it needs. Neither one of those things gets the dedication from the artist that it needs to make it great. And so when you remove the aspect of having to make your own engine and having to solve all these technical issues kind of internally, you have to build your own tools. You have to program and code all these things that are kind of given to you in an engine that's like Unreal. So the Unreal Engine, for instance, you can download for free. It's updated by other people, right? So now, I mean, this is such a smart move on their part, because no longer are they tied down to all their technical development issues that are tied to their engine. They get to just go and move and animate and put what they want to do in the game, and they don't have so many hurdles to jump over.
Since we've made the change to shift to UE, we can bring Halo forward in ways that people have never seen before while still being true to what Halo is.
The Foundry project was an effort to show ourselves how far we can push things using Unreal 5.
New studio art director, Chris, came to me and said, hey, I have this crazy idea.
He said, hey, there's this thing called Project Foundry that I want to do. Let's make it happen.
Foundry specifically is based around the same concept of the Foundry in Halo lore. It's the place where Halo rings are born.
That's a good idea for a new story, for sure.
It's not a game, it's a research project for our studio so we can prepare ourselves for the next steps of making Halo games.
It looks like they, you know, right here, this shot, it looks like they just stuck a beautiful kind of Unreal Tech demo, and then they put their object over here on the right. See, the thing is they don't have to worry about a lot of stuff that they used to have to worry about in their engine, like problem solving. The people at Unreal and Epic have already figured it out. That looks awesome. Look at that. Wow. Oh, that's cool.
The original Halo franchise was a graphics showcase. It was best in class. That's what Halo was when it first was released, and that's what Halo needs to be again.
Well, he makes a very good point, which is when Halo first released, it looked gorgeous. It was one of the best looking games at the time. I remember it. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be that now, because graphically, a lot of games are good graphically now. It's almost a given. A lot of people are used to seeing good graphics now. They're not all excited about that. So a lot of times the most important thing to a gamer is the gameplay, the story, how it feels to play the game as a player, and replayability, right? You need replayability as well. You don't need it, but it's good to have, especially for a game like Halo. It can look graphically awesome, but I don't think it has to be that. But it's a bonus. It is a bonus. If it looks gorgeous and has great story and stuff, I mean, come on, right? I'm glad that they're switching over to this engine, but I think that it's okay if it doesn't look absolutely amazing, as long as the gameplay is super fun and the story is really good, right? And they could dump a lot of their energy into the cinematics and the story and make that look gorgeous, and focus on the gameplay as well, and then kind of tie in that stuff for their multiplayer and whatnot. That's really the road they need to take in this situation here. Because the franchise is huge. Everybody loves the Halo franchise, including myself. This game was like revolutionary for the FPS industry and the whole gaming community. A new dawn.
So once Project Foundry had been approved, we took the entire creative team and we ideated on 3 locations, something old, something new, and something really alien.
We had the Pacific Northwest.
I'm liking this guy. I'm liking this new art director.
Which is sort of traditional Halo biome.
We were trying to shove as much foliage in there as humanly possible to make it really feel like you're on a hike in the, Cascades.
The Coldlands, which was the second biome that we took on, it was more of a
This is my favorite looking one. Gorgeous colors, ice and snow. This is going to be really dope.
A cool showcase where we could play with shaders, we could play with deformable landscapes and terrains. Unreal affords us more opportunity than we've ever had in the past.
On the surface, it might just look all like snow, but how many layers of things combine to really give that winter look?
And then our third biome was the Blightlands, which is
land
that's been completely taken over by
Oh, that's
I
cool.
wanted to give our team the opportunity to really express an alien world, a really alien world, taking something way further than they may have actually done in previous
That's cool looking. Look at that.
Halo games.
What's impressed me about watching the Halo team work in Unreal is how beautiful everything looks, how incredible the environments look.
it for some reason, when they're talking about how great the Unreal Engine is, it makes me think of like they've been using their engine at their studio and they don't like it, and they haven't been impressed by it. So now that they're using Unreal, they're like, "Ooh, wow, this is nice."
I don't think we've seen anything quite like it in Unreal Engine before.
Fortunately, we have a studio that's really passionate about Halo, about the look and the feel, and I think there's a lot of hunger to really collaborate, to move forward together.
Foundry was an initiative that touched on every part of the creative process, everything from concept art, VFX, characters, vehicles, and weapons to make the future games of Halo.
Creating an asset, taking this design.
See, look how gorgeous it looks.
Now we can really dig into material foundations. What is it actually made of? How is it physically accurate to the world? Now,
how come they weren't doing that before? I don't know. It just, now we can finally do that. It sounds like their engine was really holding them back.
we get to take all the wonderful legacy assets that we have, bring them to life, and bring them to today's standards.
And they like I said, they should have been able to do that before. So that's a bummer. I'm stoked that they're finally switching over. Ooh, look at that.
We are really excited to be not just working on multiple projects, but also expanding our studio.
As a lifelong Halo player, I think the game's only going to get better when we get those new, unique perspectives and people bring in their expertise and passion for the Halo franchise.
So it sounds like they're expanding. They're looking to hire a bunch of new people. So if you're looking to get into game development, apply now.
We are looking.
Because you know what? It could be a great studio to work at. I have never worked at 343 or at this new revamped studio called Halo Studios, but they could have revamped things a lot. This could be a great place to work. I really don't know.
For new talent as the projects that we're working on kind of get further and further into their development cycles.
And it is great to be part of a team that's growing because you can kind of see that force multiplied as people come in and take on challenges and you can do more.
Imagine a place where you have the commitment that this is what we want to do, Halo games, and create those experiences. And you can express your talent, your creativity, and your professional ambitions in that place.
We're looking for designers, we're looking for artists, we're looking for engineers.
It feels like a new beginning for the studio in a lot of ways, and I think that's pretty rare.
New beginning for the studio. They need that though, because they 343 sort of has a tarnished reputation at this point. And so it's good for them to rebrand and take on something else. I would have called it something completely different though. I wouldn't have called it Halo Studios because now you're dedicating yourself to Halo games for the rest of your life. I wouldn't have done that personally, but it's not my it's not my studio. But it's a good idea for them to rebrand in general. They really need that.
And I think we arrived now at a point where you see the beginnings of people to start to believe in the process.
There's so much momentum that we have right now and focus and clarity on not just what we're building, but why we're building and kind of this next phase of Halo.
The worlds that we're building, the stories that we're going after.
The potential at Halo right now is huge.
Halo Infinite was the last remnants of how we made Halo games in the past. That was our recipe. And what we are doing right now, we're changing that recipe.
Whoa. Nice. You know what? I'll tell you one thing. This rebranding is really, really important for 343 and to just kind of take on a whole, because here's the thing. In our day and age, times come and go and people forget very easily. So like 343 will just become a thing of the past. Nobody will, 5-10 years from now, the other generation that's coming into gaming will have forgotten about 343. They will just look at this as Halo Studios. So it's important to rebrand and sometimes to just kind of reset. And them switching to the Unreal Engine is super smart for them. I know I've said it earlier in the video in different ways, but here's the thing. When you're developing a game, you need as minimal kind of snags as possible. You don't want anything to get in your way of just creating your vision, right? And sometimes with game engines, they can be very, 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 very complicated and things can be very hard to implement in the game. And so what I mean by that is like, there can be something simple like a mini game that you want to do in there. Maybe the guy comes up and he needs to open a lockbox and you have to have a little thing that turns and clicks and does all this stuff, right? Well, you have to sort of make that from scratch when you have your own engine, when you have your own game engine. But when you're using an engine like Unreal, they've already tried to do stuff like that in the game, right? So they will have little almost like templates that you can use as a starting point to do this mini game, right? Somebody else would have done something maybe similar in a different game, and they've had that as like a chunk, as a template, and then you can use that for your project. And that's what's huge about the Unreal Engine, is that they're sharing all these assets and all this code and all these tools for anyone to use. And so as a big game developer, a lot of these people that are there that work at these game studios, they're very knowledgeable. They know how to make their own engine. So when they come into an engine that's already working, they can troubleshoot things easier. They can get things done faster. They're not caught up on all these little snags. And not only that, but because they have all this knowledge of making stuff from scratch and in their own engine, that it makes it so when they run into certain problems, they can really troubleshoot them easier and they can kind of figure them out and combine their knowledge of stuff they've learned from scratch and something that's given to you like as a template, right? And that's important because it'll allow them to make the tools the best they can. It'll allow them to take one of the tools that Unreal gives you and make it even better, right? And that's what I'm excited about with Unreal Engine and it working with multiple studios. Because what happens is every studio that works with the Unreal Engine runs into little problems or has ideas on how to change things and make it better, including the studio I'm working at and studios I've worked at in the past. We've had ideas and we've sent them to Epic. I've talked to guys at Epic with, my friends and asked them about different stuff. It's important to implement and to grow as a team and as a community to make gaming the best it can be. And Unreal Engine is like kind of helping that in the background big time, even though a lot of us don't see it. They're helping all the industry kind of grow and make new things that have never been done before. So I'm excited about what Halo Studios is going to bring to the table. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash the buttons down below. You know what they are. If you are not subscribed, please consider doing that. I also have videos on animation breakdowns I've done and all kinds of cool stuff on my channel. And I stream every now and then playing some games. So please join me. I'd love to see you in the next one.